1989 was known as the summer of sequels, as there were at least 10 back when sequels were not the norm. It was also the year there were no Arnie movies, but 2 Stallones, 3 John Candy, 2 Tom Selleck, 2 Morgan Freeman, 2 Michael J. Fox, 2 Michael Douglas, 2 Spielberg films, 2 Patrick Swayze, 2 Michael Keaton, 2 Chevy Chase, both releasing to their number 1 spot, 2 Toxic Avengers, 6 re-releases of old films, 13 Godfrey Ho films, and 1 Andy Sidaris movie. This is a picture of me around 1989, when I would have been about 16. You can tell it's the 80s, as it's so brown and it's not fluorescent colours like all modern films and TV shows would have you believe. I had left school and was at a technical college in Llanelli. That was the first time I had lived somewhere that had a cinema within walking distance, and not an hour away. So I spent most of my nights there and got to see a lot of films in the cinema. I was home on the weekends, and on the trip back, I would pick up some tapes from the video shop, many of which are listed in the following video. There would also be some videos from some gullible mugs, fellow YouTubers talking about their favourite film of 1989 where relevant.
Those people are trying to kill us!
I know that!
It's a new experience for me.
Happens to me all the time.
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Have the adventure of your life. Keeping up with the Joneses. Ghostbusters 2.
We're the best! We're the beautiful! We're the only Ghostbusters!
We're back!
Who you gonna call?
Ghostbusters!
Lethal Weapon 2. This time, they're not taking any crap.
Just get off me, man. I don't want anybody to see us like that.
Back to the Future.
Gotta get back in time.
Part 2.
Sylvester Stallone and Kurt Russell. Tango and Cash.
Thriller. So let's start with Dead Calm. It's a great Aussie thriller, and it has a lot of Nicole Kidman on show, so there's that. Then we get Next of Kin with Paddy Swayze as a redneck cop out for revenge. Then we get Roadhouse. Patrick Swayze being nice until it's time to rip a guy's throat out. About some Casualties of War, a brutal Nam film from Brian De Palma with Michael J. Fox in a very serious role. Then we get Her Alibi, a comedy thriller with Tom Selleck. Then we have Tom Selleck again in An Innocent Man, this time not for laughs, as he's sent to prison for a crime he didn't commit. Then we have more prison. Stallone, Lock Up, a very overlooked thriller. Then we have Black Rain, Ridley Scott's dark Japan set thriller with Michael Douglas, an early part for Andy Garcia. Sea of Love, another serial killer thriller but with Al Pacino as a cop. I put this in thrillers because I had nowhere else to put it, but the biggest film with the biggest hype of that year. Then we have Gleaming the Cube, Christian Slater's roller skating movie. Kinjeet, Forbidden Subjects, Charles Bronson's sex thriller. Then we have January Man, a Kevin Kline serial killer thriller with Alan Rickman, but he's the good guy. And then we have Relentless, the first film of the serial killer franchise.
Hey, what up, you guys? This is Danny B from the Trash Stash, and this is for Garrett's 1989 video. You want to know what my favorite 1989 movie is. And I really got to say, I think my very favorite of 1989 is Batman, Tim Burton's Batman. I grew up watching that. I always loved it. And even now when I watch it, it's still my favorite Batman movie. I just love everything about that movie, even down to the architecture and the music and just everything. It's still my very favorite superhero movie. So yeah, Batman 1989 is my very favorite from 89. All right, guys, peace out.
Hi, Steve here from Movie Chats. So I've been asked what is my favourite movie of 1989, and it is Tim Burton's Batman, starring Jack Nicholson and Michael Keaton. For me, it was probably my first superhero movie I saw growing up. It's definitely a dark movie, a lot grittier than the Batman series of past. But the soundtrack's really great, the action's great in it. I love the Batmobile. So for me, that's why it's my number one of 1989. Take care. Bye.
Hey, it's me, AP, aka Mr. Movie Cheer from the Movie Cheer podcast, and I'm going to discuss my favourite movie from 1989, and it is Batman. Not the very first Batman movie, but the 1989 Batman movie starring Jack Nicholson as Bruce Wayne and Batman and Jack Nicholson as the Joker. Such a very different incarnation of the character compared to the 60s TV show. Just a much more darker incarnation. It was really weird to think how different it is, the direction it went, and it just really moved it into what Batman is now. From that cheesy sort of comic strip sort of Batman style humor in the 60s show, which, you know what, I've watched some of it and I really enjoy the 60s Batman. But for me, this is Batman. What I think of Batman as it starts in the 1989 incarnation of Batman. I think Keaton is great in the role as Bruce Wayne and as Batman. The suit looks badass. Nicholson as the Joker is phenomenal. Such an iconic villain. And yeah, it's just a really, really good movie, and I think really is a highlight of the year of 1989 movies.
Sci-fi. Communion with Christopher Walken, abducted by aliens, based on a true story. And then we have Cyborg with Van Damme, but he's not the cyborg. The Abyss. James Cameron makes a movie no one who made the movie will talk about. Millennium, time-traveling sci-fi about a plane crash. Star Trek V, saw this in the cinema twice. Back to the Future Part 2, the sequel we never expected after the original. And then Ghostbusters 2, or the real Ghostbusters movie.
In 1989, Ghostbusters 2 was released, and if you ask me, it is a worthy successor to the 1984 comedy classic. First off, the bad guy is way scarier. As scary as Gozer the Gozerian was, I think Vigo the Carpathian is way scarier. He is portrayed by Wilhelm van Humburg and voiced by the awesome, absolutely awesome Max von Sydow. Apparently Humburg, however, was very annoyed to find out his voice was being dubbed over by Sydow. But I digress. Still a way more compelling ghost and monster than the prior movie. Other cool things. Ernie Hudson is finally given a lot more to do. If you ask me, Ernie Hudson kind of got the shaft in this franchise. He participated in auditioning for the animated series, the real Ghostbusters series, and lost out to Arsenio Hall. I mean, how bad does it have to be that you lose out voicing the character you portrayed in the movie? But still, he's given a lot more to do in this movie. He gets to stretch his comedic chops, particularly in the subway involving the ghost train. And that's another cool thing, the idea of a more lofty premise. Like the prior one, we're dealing with more kind of eldritch, otherworldly creatures. And the idea of this river of slime that is powered by New York's negativity is actually a fairly kind of cool idea. A lot of people say Bill Murray kind of sleepwalks through this, and maybe he does, but I still think Bill Murray at like 10% funny is still a hell of a lot more funny than other comedians. I love this movie, and I think it gets a really raw deal when it comes to people comparing it to the original. I think it's fun, I think it's cool, and I think it is a worthy follow-up to the 1984 classic. Hell, you even have Peter McNeil in demonic drag stealing kids. What can be more scary than that?
Hi, I'm Andrew Horn from the Planet Hex channel. So, my favourite movie from 1989, it may well be an unpopular choice, but it was big for me at the time. It is Ghostbusters 2. Now, I know it's nowhere near as influential or iconic as the first movie, but I was hugely into Ghostbusters at the time. It says June 16th, 1989 on the one sheet there. That's the US one sheet as far as I remember. But it came out in the UK, I think it was the 1st of December. And I remember seeing a little preview for it on like Film 89 with Barry Norman, and showing an exclusive clip of it. I remember staying up late to see this clip of Ghostbusters 2, and it was just it was like a something to nothing clip. It wasn't one of the big scenes, but it was like, oh my god, they're back. I loved the first movie. I was hugely into the real Ghostbusters cartoon, the toy line, the comics, and everything like that. And it was just a really important thing to me. And I think one of the things about this film was that it allowed us to spend some more time with those original Ghostbusters again. More than Vigo the Carpathian or whatever threat it was just really fun being around Bill Murray and Ernie Hudson, Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis again, and it was just a really, really fun thing to see. Yeah, it's nowhere near as much fun as the first film. It is a bit more family friendly and toned down, and there are some more touches that are more in keeping with the cartoon. But it's special to me, and I remember quite dearly a VHS tape I had of both movies on. So there's Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2, but not back to back. So there was Ghostbusters 1, and then there was like an episode of a Batman serial, an entire episode, like 20 minutes of Batman serial, black and white one, and then like movie trailers, and then Ghostbusters 2. So that wasn't ideal, but even though it wasn't ideal, I missed that tape too. So Ghostbusters 2 would be my choice. It was almost Batman or Cyborg or things like that. But I think, personally, deep down, 1989 was all about Ghostbusters 2 for me.
Then comedy. Heathers, Winona Ryder, Earth Girls Are Easy, or Gina Davis is easier in this anyway. Let It Ride, a Richard Dreyfuss gambling comedy. Dream a Little Dream, the Coreys' third film together. Shirley Valentine. British comedy about a bored housewife on holiday. UHF, Weird Al's best film. Disorganized Crime, caper comedy with a great cast. Police Academy 6, City Under Siege, the last good Academy movie. Young Einstein, Aussie comedy with Yahoo series. Family Business, another caper comedy about a family of thieves with Big Sean, Hoffman and Broderick. Pink Cadillac, Clint as a bounty hunter trying to get Bernadette Peters to jail. She-Devil, Meryl Streep black comedy. No Holds Barred, Hulk Hogan's biopic. Say Anything, John Cusack and a Boombox. The Dream Team, great comedy with a great cast. Weekend at Bernie's, this has a sequel, believe it or not. Excellent. The Burbs, one of my favourite comedies of all time. Christmas Vacation, people watch this every year for good reason. Fletch Lives, so this is probably Chevy Chase's best year. Both those films got to #1. Harlem Nights, sadly Eddie Murphy took too much on as star, writer, producer and director, so the film suffered because of that, and that led to a decline in his films. Uncle Buck, if you don't love this, you better check for a pulse. Who's Harry Crumb? John Candy again, but in many disguises. When Harry Met Sally. Billy and Meg in a funny romantic comedy. Parenthood. Steve Martin in a great comedy that's got some drama as well. Look Who's Talking. Travolta's first of many comebacks. The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, an epic fantasy that broke the bank, but not in a good way. Major League. I hate baseball, but I love this film. See No Evil, Hear No Evil. Wilder and Pryor's last great film together. K9, the better of the two dog comedies of the year. Too sad. Next one. The War of the Roses, quite the opposite of the Romancing the Stone reunion we were expecting. And then Three Fugitives, fun remake of a French film.
Hi, Jim Jam here. So what is my favourite film from 1989? Well, it was a bit of a tough one, this one, because it was between two. But the one I've chosen, I think, is the better. So I have decided that my film of choice from 1989 is, of course, Uncle Buck, starring the late, great John Candy. Yeah, absolutely adore this film. I remember watching this on VHS as a kid and just absolutely fall in love with this film. And of course, you've got a very young Macaulay Culkin in this film as well. This film is just laugh a minute. There's so many great jokes, and it's directed by John Hughes as well, which is really good. So Uncle Buck is the film I choose from 1989.
Welcome back to Movie Chats. I'm Big Steve. Hang on a second. No, sorry, I'm on Gareth's video. This is Video Tasties, best movies of 1989. Now, there's so many good movies from 1989. There's Field of Dreams, there's Batman, there's Back to the Future 2. I know little Steve is gone for Batman. Now, for me, taking them all aside, I really enjoy Hear No Evil, See No Evil. I think Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder are absolutely brilliant. I love the premise of one of the characters being deaf, one of the characters being blind, the fact that they've got to help each other throughout the film. And it's just a comedy masterpiece from start to finish, that movie. Like I say, I do really enjoy the 1989 Batman as well, but for me, it'll be Hear No Evil, See No Evil. So, there we go. Now, if you haven't already, please like the video. I know it will help Video Tasties a lot, and if you haven't already, then please subscribe to us at Movie Chats as well. It'll be great to see you in some of our chats and some of our live streams as well. I'm not going to take too much more of Gareth's time up, so on that note, I'll say see you later. Hope to see you soon on one of our videos, and enjoy the rest of the video. Bye-bye.
What's up, Tapeoids? Rob's Vintage Video here, and one of my favorite 1989 movies is Uncle Buck.
Hey folks, so my name's Nos, and I'm from the channel Pro Physical Media. My pick for favourite film of 1989 isn't going to be an obvious one for most. There are quite a good few films that are fantastic in that decade or year. Well done, Gareth. So, for my pick, it has memories tied to it, and that is UHF, the original Weird Al movie. Now, I don't own a physical copy, wish I did, never got around to getting it. My memory from this is I grew up going through college and early adulthood listening to Weird Al. Weird Al's parodies are iconic. And when Love Film started doing the DVDs postal service, I jumped in on that. And my first rental was UHF. That and Dracula Prince of Darkness. The disc for Dracula Prince of Darkness wasn't that great, though. Anyway, tangents. I'm going to try and keep them to a minimum, Gareth. I promise. Welcome to my channel. This film was a roller coaster. It was hilarious and emotional. And the music was just fantastic. So, for my pick for the best film, at least to me, of 1989, even though I don't think it will win in the long run, is UHF. Thank you very much.
Drama. Great Balls of Fire, More Winona, and a great soundtrack. Henry V, still haven't seen the first four. My Left Foot, proof of the power of acting that wouldn't be allowed today. The Fabulous Baker Boys, Catwoman's sexy singing, enough said. Glory, epic battles. Pre-CGI. Do the Right Thing, Racial Hate in the Heat, Lean on Me, I Wish, Morgan Freeman had been my teacher, Diary of Miss Daisy, Morgan Freeman is now this old. Always, Spielberg's other film of the year, and is a remake. Field of Dreams, not a dry male eye in the house at the end of that one. Born on the 4th of July, Tom Cruise, big serious role in Oliver Stone's second film. Steel Magnolias, chick flick, not seen it. Karate Kid Part 3, least remembered one. And finally, Dead Poets Society, Robin Williams' best film.
Hey everyone, my name is Jason. Welcome to Backtrack Cinema. I was asked by Gareth from Video Tasties, as he's doing this big project of the films from 1989, so I thought I would participate. So a little about my channel, guys. My name is Jason. Like I said, this is Backtrack Cinema. I talk movies from the past that you know and love. So I go back to talk about movies I love in the past, mostly 70s, mostly 80s. Been going through the Dirty Harry films, been going through Death Wish, doing some slashics, as I like to call them, like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. So you haven't heard of my channel, come on out. I just do reviews and rankings at this time anyway. So I like to punch out about 2 reviews a week, a ranking every Wednesday. So I'd appreciate you guys all coming out to the channel, subscribe to the channel, all that jazz. But why are we here? We're here. What is my favorite film from 1989? 1989 had a lot of good ones, you know, like Roadhouse. Batman's probably my favorite memory because I can remember going to the theater to see that film. But my favorite film from 1989 is Dead Poets Society. Absolutely love that film. Love Robin Williams in it. I think it's an absolutely fantastic performance. And I love the whole theme of this movie. Seize the day. Seize your life. You know, take control of your life. Be what you want to be and not what society or what the school is trying to regiment these kids into. Trying to push them out the same, make them think the same. And this teacher, played by Robin Williams, and John Keating comes along, tells them, do what you want to do. Think how you want to think. And I love that. And they get together in this cave and they tell poems together because it's all about just having passion for something. Whether it's music, whether it's math, whether you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, an actor, if you want to bake bread, having passion for life. I mean, being a doctor, being a lawyer, being all these professional, really educated things is fine and dandy. It helps the world out. But it's like he says in the movie, love, beauty, romance. These are the things that we stay alive for. And that's what's important, right? And he teaches them, how to think for yourself. That's one of the big things in this. He teaches the kids how to think for themselves. Don't think like everyone else thinks. That ending where John Keating gets kicked out of the school and he has no contact with the kids, and the only way they can communicate with them is what he showed them. Once you think you know something, look at it from a different point of view. Ethan Hawke stands up on his desk and says, "Oh, Captain, my Captain." Fantastic. What a way to end a film. It's absolutely fantastic. And it's a dark film. It's not a fun ride, per se. Great performances, a great story, some really great characters. Some dark themes, some lighthearted stuff in there too. But I absolutely love Dead Poets Society, guys. It's my favorite film from 1989. So thank you, Gareth, for having me involved in this project. It's always fun to talk 80s movie, and 1989 was a blast. And yeah, guys, my name is Jason. This is Backtrack Cinema, so come on, head out to my channel. And yeah, it's always fun as we just do reviews and rankings here at Backtrack Cinema, talk about the movies from the past that you know and love. Cheers!
Next time you're in Alfreton, make sure you take a visit to Straight to Video, the 80s video shop. The widest selection, the latest gaming systems, the newest film releases. Straight to Video, King Street, Alfred. Be like Kylie and step back in time. Kids. Little Monsters, not seen it. And we got All Dogs Go to Heaven, which has got a bit of a franchise, but haven't seen it. The Little Mermaid, at least the late 90s re-release, had Peter Andre on it. Honey, I Shrunk the Kid. The world needs more Rick Moranis films. There were 3 of these though. Right, action. American Ninja 3, Blood Hunt. There's 2 more after this. Best of the Best, surprisingly good Eric Roberts film. Red Scorpion, Dolph Does Rambo. Kickboxer, Van Damme Kicking Things. Tango Cash, Where's the Sequel? License to Kill. I thought it was called License Revoked. Diplomatic Immunity. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Indy's Perfect Send-Off. No more needed. And then we have Savage Beach. Andy Sedaris, you've done it again.
Now then, folks, how you doing? It's James JT at the movies, and I'm really thrilled to be a part of Gareth's video over at Video Tasties, where we're talking about one of the absolute best years of modern cinema. I would agree wholeheartedly with Gareth's sentiment, and it's my favourite year as well for films. Pretty much all of my favourite films came out in the year 1989. There's just so many of them. Lethal Weapon 2, Ghostbusters 2, The Abyss, my favourite Bond movie, License to Kill. Yeah, just absolutely so many classics when you look down that list of films that have come out. But the one that I wanted to talk to you about as part of this video is not only my favourite film from 1989, but my favourite film of all time, bar none, and that is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the third entry in the Indiana Jones series. This film has resonated with me ever since I was a young boy. Sounds like I'm going to go into a Who song, doesn't it? But ever since I was a kid, and my dad showed this to me, I can remember it vividly. My sister was a dancer. Mum used to take her out for lessons and practice on a Saturday, and quite often me and Dad would be left to our own devices. And I remember him taping this film off the TV and being so excited to show me it at the weekend. And at first, all I wanted to watch was, Batman or Scooby-Doo. What's changed? But within a couple of minutes, I was hooked. And the scenes back in the 1910s in Utah, where we've got River Phoenix and he's doing the portrayal of young Indiana Jones when he's a scout and a teenager, and it's a note perfect performance. And River Phoenix is absolutely immaculate, taking on Harrison Ford, obviously playing Indiana Jones in those scenes. And it's no wonder that they picked him for it, and it's no wonder that it inspired the young Indiana Jones serials that we got in the 90s either. But yeah, it's absolutely brilliant, and I really love that it goes. Basically, with not a lot of a story, Indy, discovers some guys basically grave robbing, and steals the treasure before they can, because he feels that it belongs with the in its rightful place, either with a museum or with the descendants of the people that they're lifting it from, and then the bad guys come after him, and there's this great chase through the hills that leads onto the top of a travelling circus train, and you get all the character tropes that make Indiana Jones what he is. You get the origins of them within this scene, his fear of snakes, and where the real life scar on Harrison Ford's chin, which he got in a car accident when he was younger, they write that into the canon. And the first time he ever cracks a whip, he accidentally catches himself, and it's all that. And then the whole inspiration for his look is based on the lead of the gang of grave robbers that are after the treasure as well. And the guy takes pity on at the end, and he sort of says, well, you lost today, kid, but you don't have to like it, and gives him his first fedora, and it sort of bleeds into the story of the rest of the film perfectly. And the story of this film is Indiana Jones basically hunting for his dad, who's gone missing on his search for the Holy Grail, the cup that caught the blood of Jesus Christ. And it's a story full of twists and turns, and goodies that are baddies and baddies that are goodies, and the search for truth in all of us, as Sean Connery's character says. And again, he's perfectly cast as Indiana Jones' dad, and the inspiration for Indiana Jones was James Bond. So when they were casting him, they said, well, who better to play him than James Bond himself? And the two have such a remarkable chemistry, which is fantastically backed up by the characters also of Salah and of Marcus Brody, played by Den O'Melliot and John Rhys-Davies. And then Julian Glover is a superb villain. I had the pleasure of meeting him a couple of years ago at a convention, and he was good enough to take 5 minutes of his time to talk about all the practical effects used at the end of the film for his death scene, and how it's still to this day the favourite and the most fun thing he's done in his whole career, which was lovely to hear and to talk to him about, considering what a absolutely varied and star-studded career that guy's had. But this film's had such an impact on my life, and it's one that, like I say, I watch very regularly, at least once a year,
if not more than. And it was for me and for my dad, who's sadly no longer around. It was our film, and it was our series, along with things like James Bond as well. But this really was like our film, and you know, the father son dynamic really spoke to me, and I believe to him as well. And it's led me to become really passionate about this film. And as we're collectors, collect all the different versions. This is my dad's old DVD of it. But I mean, I still have the VHS edition here. I picked up at a convention. Where's it gone now? Where did I put it? It's here. I picked up the laser disc of the film. I absolutely love this. I just have this out as artwork. And I've got the Blu-ray, and then my mum and my sister bought me the 4K box set of this film. And then where's it gone? I've got it here. This is the latest addition to the collection. I've got here the 4K steel, but with the poster art on it. You can't see it, but I've got the poster up on the wall there. And I have here as well the Grail, and as well as that the Grail diary in the posters. Like I said, this film absolutely just speaks to me in a way that no other film does. I just think it's note perfect throughout, and have such a great time with it. And it obviously stands alongside a year of absolutely fantastic films as well. So I hope that you enjoyed my my ramblings and my thoughts on Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
What's happening, folks? I'm Andy, Gareth's man in the north. I'm the Scottish guy that sometimes appears in Gareth's videos and the odd live stream. But yeah, you might know me better as Electric Geek if you've hit up my channel before. I cover 4K Blu-ray, movie reviews, live chats, unboxings and all that gaff. But ultimately, Gareth over at Video Tasties has asked me to put together my favourite films, or favourite film of 1989, and that would be Indiana Jones's The Last Crusade. I'm probably not alone. It's probably one of the biggest releases of 1989, and it's only second, in my opinion, to the original Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is my favourite Indy. Don't know if you agree. I'm excited for Indy 5. The less said about Indy 4, the better. But yeah, that's my favourite film of 1989. Worried though that it might also be mentioned by other people. I thought I'll throw in a little honourable mention. So I'm a massive James Bond fan, and it just so happens that 1989 was a Bond year, and it was the second and last outing, sadly, of Timothy Dalton in Licence to Kill. This movie was ahead of its time. Daniel Craig ended up being well revered for what he did with his tenure, for kind of getting it back to basics, back to more like the character that Ian Fleming had written about. And that's what, sadly, Timothy Dalton tried to do, but I don't think the audiences in the 1980s were quite ready for it. It's probably dated a bit now, but still worth checking out. But I do prefer the 11 Daylights over Licence to Kill. But those are my picks, cheating a little bit, of 1989. If you've enjoyed what you see here, then be sure to hit up my channel and subscribe if you like 4K Blu-ray, unboxings and all that good stuff, physical media. Alright, cheers Gareth.
Okay, you ready? So go on 3, 1, 2...
Hang on. Are we going to go on 3, or is it 1, 2, 3 and then go?
1, 2, 3 and then go.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
So 1, 2, 3.
This is Rob, this is Chris from the Straight to Video 80s Video Shop, and we've been invited to talk about our favourite film from 1989.
Yeah.
How many years ago is that?
That is 34 years ago, when you was a little 12-year-old boy. Is that right? That's a lie. I was 13.
1989, the year of Batman.
Yeah, Batman, definitely the year of Batman.
Ghostbusters
it
2?
was everywhere. I think Batman sort of like slaughtered everything, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was even Ghostbusters 2, with the toys, the games, and everything.
That
it was
logo
all
was
Batman.
all over the place.
Yeah.
The Prince soundtrack.
Yeah, soundtracks were big in the 80s, and that was one of them. It's a really short album though, but very, very good. But I think also what did it for me was that Adam West Batman was on telly a lot. And I was like, oh, Batman was hot.
Yeah.
And then they changed the Batman look, and it was amazing.
Amazing. But we're not here to talk about Batman, because everyone's going to talk about Batman. We had to think, we're surrounded by films of 1989, but the one we picked was this one. In our opinion, a great sequel.
Yeah, one of the best sequels.
You're a fan of the first one. You're a big fan.
Yeah, massive fan of the first one, and the second one, and then I think the third one loses it a little bit. And the fourth one's pretty decent. But the second one, you got Leo Getz coming into it, which is amazing. The drive-through bit is still one of the best things I think ever. Like, you can't say what he says because there's swearing in it. Everything about this film's wicked. I've got so many memories of it, going to the cinema to watch it, get it on video, walking into a lamppost to buy it. Loads of things. It's so cool, and I need to go and watch it again. But then I looked at these tapes that Rob's put out, like Roadhouse, one of the most perfect films ever.
Yeah, another Nightmare on Elm Street film that year.
Yeah, 5. Uncle Buck.
Indiana Jones.
Last Crusade.
Oh my god.
Would you say it's the best Indiana Jones? I wouldn't.
No, I'm a soft spot for Temple of Doom.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Temple of Doom all the way, which is very sort of controversial, I think. Everyone goes for Raiders, then that, and then Temple of Doom. But Temple of Doom's the best.
But yes, this one, I think Lethal Weapon 2 delivers on all levels. 15 at the cinema, 18 on video.
That's correct, yeah. I managed to get in the cinema as a 13-year-old.
Nice.
To see it, because they weren't bothered them days, were they?
Not too much.
They didn't really need ID, you just went, I'm 15, and you got in. And then video 18, and I still got it, so happy days. So
Nice one.
Take care of yourselves.
Lethal Weapon 2, gonna go watch it. Take it easy.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff, also known by my channel name 101 Bronson, submitting my favorite movie of 1989. A lot of choices, a lot of possibilities. 1989 was a great year for movies. Charles Bronson made his last canon film and his last action film of the 80s, Kinji Tae, Forbidden Subjects. Stallone had 2 great films in my opinion, Tango and Cash, Lock Up. Big summer blockbusters like the 1989 Batman, Ghostbusters 2, Roadhouse, I think also came out that year, License to Kill. But I'm going for one of my favorite action films, one of my favorite movies within a certain franchise. It's Lethal Weapon 2. I love this film, you know, from beginning to end. It's action-packed, great comedy with Joe Pesci added into the mix. Of course, a great bad guy, the South African diplomat with his diplomatic immunity. Classic movie. Again, another contender would have been Indiana Jones Last Crusade. That's just too much to go for. But if you really hold a gun to my head and say choose one, I'm walking away with Lethal Weapon 2, baby. There you have it. On to the next one.
Got a movie critic here back again with a short video, and today I'm going to be doing a video for Gareth Video Tasties, who is doing a full video on his favourite films from 1989, and he's very kindly asked me to take part in it. So thank you so much, Gareth, for giving me the opportunity to take part in this video. Really appreciate it, my friend. And this was actually quite hard to pick a favourite, because there was actually some really great movies from 1989. I could have picked so many movies like Roadhouse and Casualties of War, which are 2 absolutely incredible films. But one that I've decided to go with is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which is probably my favourite Indiana Jones film out of the franchise. I've always really enjoyed this film. I think the chemistry between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery's character is absolutely fantastic. The action is absolutely great as well, and the score, like all of the movies, is iconic as well. Such a great score. And I think out of all the Indiana Jones films, this is the one that I get the most enjoyment out of. So yeah, that is probably why this is my favourite film of 1989. It's just such a great classic movie, and it's just such an entertaining movie. So yeah, again, thank you so much, Gareth, for letting me take part in this video. Really appreciate it, and that is my answer for this video. So yeah, take care everyone, and I'll see you all later.
Fright Night Part 2, You Can Never Have Enough Peter Vincent. 976 Evil, Robert Englund's directorial debut. Parents, back when Randy Quaid pretended to be nuts. Vampire's Kiss, launched 1,000 memes. The Terror Within, only George Kennedy can save us as usual. The Toxic Avenger Part 2. Well, I have one Toxie film. The Toxic Avenger Part 3, The Last Temptation of Toxie. The Phantom of the Opera, Robert Englund's other disfigured horror character of the 80s. Stepfather 2, Make Room for Daddy, not sure what type of film this subtitle suggests. Deep Star 6, the third best underwater film of the year. House 3, The Horror Show. House film in name only. Halloween 5. Friday the 13th Part 8. Elm Street 5. Can't be a bad year when you have all those three in cinemas. Leviathan. A little bit of The Thing, some Alien, and a lot of water. And a great cast. Shocker. Wes Craven's attempt at a new horror icon. And failure. The Fly 2. Amazing practical effects that need more respect. Pet Cemetery. Zelda.
Hello, it's a Ginger Ninja here, all the way from Land Down Under, and thank you to Gareth from Video Tasters for inviting me on to let you know my favourite film from 1989, and it is none other than the creature feature Leviathan, which has one of the greatest casts ever assembled. You've got RoboCop, played by Peter Weller. You've got Colonel Troutman, Richard Crenna. You've got Dr. Christina McGee from the Flash TV series, played by Amanda Pays. You've got Winston Zedmore himself, Ernie Hudson. You've got one of the Wet Bandits, Daniel Stern. You've even got Evil Lynn, played by Meg Foster, in this film. Best cast ever? I think so. It's a great creature feature with fantastic special effects, a really tight, atmospheric, claustrophobic environment, just done really well. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you check it out. It is one of my personal favorites and the best from 1989. Thanks again. Have a great day. Bye.
Alright, so I am JT from JT's Horror Discussions. I am on the better side of the ocean. I'm kidding, British people, my friends there. You're just as good as better people. And I am giving my #1 movie for 1989. I didn't even look at what else came out in 1989. All I know is that slasher film is my favorite subgenre of horror, and my favorite slasher kill ever is in this movie from 1989. We have Scott Spiegel's Intruder, and basically this is like a little Evil Dead reunion, because we have Sam Raimi and Ted Raimi in, I don't want to say small roles, they're more like supporting side roles. They both get killed, like they're victims like all the other people. The only thing I dislike about that is that I feel like Raimi could have got like a better kill. Like, it's Sam Raimi. You think they would like save like something awesome for him, but the kills in this movie are fantastic. And I believe this is K&B Effects. I'm pretty sure Greg Nicotero, Rob Kurtzman, and Howard Berger. And they went on. They did so many great things before they went to The Walking Dead and just blew up into the stratosphere. But we have those two. We have Scott Spiegel, who helped with Evil Dead 2. And then we have Dan Hicks from Evil Dead 2, who plays like the assistant manager here. And this is a grocery store night shift. And they basically, the main girl, we have also a crush of mine growing up in oh, come on, why can't I think of her name? Renee Estevez. That's it. I almost said Emilio Estevez. Renee Estevez in Sleepaway Camp 2, which is another favorite of mine, and this. Oh, she was so cute, man. Like, she really, I don't even know what she looks like nowadays, but I guarantee it's not as cute as back then. But, like, just for having her there, she's not there for long, but that's eye candy right there. And they're working in this grocery store as the night shift, and then they find out that the store is being sold. So basically they're all out of jobs, which sucks. Then the main chick, Renee Estevez's friend, has an abusive boyfriend who just got out of prison. And he's calling up and asking for her, harassing her, shows up at the place, starts a fight with all the guys there and stuff, Hard Night Crew, and then the killings start. And Jesus, the kills are so good in this movie. I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it. All I'll say is that 2 of the kills in this movie are absolutely fantastic. Do they look hyper realistic? No, of course not. They look like 80s practical effects, which I love, and they look great. And we get 2 kills in here that you don't see hardly ever in any other type of slasher movie. One for sure, not my favorite one, but second favorite. That one I've never seen in something else. I've seen a similar thing for my favorite one in an Italian horror movie, but it's still totally different. So there are 2 amazing kills in this. There isn't one off-screen kill. It's whatever. It's just all the other ones make up for it. And we don't know who the killer is until the end, and the motive and everything like that, which I also want to say. And then we have Bruce Campbell in like a 30-second cameo at the end of this movie. Like, and if you look at the cover, like the DVD, or if there is a Blu-ray release, I don't know, I don't really collect physical media anymore, but they bill this like Bruce Campbell's the star. Like Bruce Campbell, Sam Raimi, like Ted Raimi, like the Intruder, and it's like Bruce is there for the end for 30 seconds, and Sam Raimi and Ted are like supporting characters, minor characters. So the way that they market this on the DVD, and probably the exact same on the Blu-ray, is a very misleading way to market the movie. But if you go into this just expecting just a fun 80s slasher with really good effects and really cool kills, you'll enjoy it a lot, in my opinion. And it's one of my favorite 80s slashers, but like it has my top 80s. Not even just 80s, it has my top slasher kill ever. So, I mean, slasher films, specifically from the 80s, are my favorite genre of horror. So this is the only thing I had to think of for 1989. So 1989's Intruder, Scott Spiegel. Check it out. It is on Tubi, like always. Like, they never take the great 80s slashers off of Tubi, which also means, you know, Gareth, you might get Tubi in like 2035 or something, and you can check it out. So that's Intruder, and yeah, check it out, guys. Take care.
The following films got re-released in the cinema in 1989. The Wizard of Oz, Gone with the Wind, Lawrence of Arabia, The Rescuers, Peter Pan, and Pumpkinhead from the year before. There are far too many films of that year that could be my favourites, but if I had to choose one, it'd be that one. And great memories of going to the cinemas this year and seeing all the hype and all the pictures, and then it got me into Batman and all the comics and stuff. So there is the evidence, dear viewers. So what do you think? Was 1989 the best year ever for movies? I think so. Thanks to everyone who supplied their videos, and thank you for watching. Take it away, Big Sean.
Dear Enders the Lesh.